It's your daily dose of Donna. Welcome to the show. Today is Wednesday, June 25th. I hope everyone's having a phenomenal hump day. How is everyone doing? Are you humping your way through the week? Humping away? Anyone? Anyone? Okay. Welcome to the show. We have got a fun show for you. Well, I can't promise fun, but I can promise a show. Just kidding. I can definitely promise fun. I always can promise fun here on Daily Dose of Donna. We can always find something to enjoy. Even when we have bad news, we can always enjoy something. I will tell you something sad. I did throw my back out a little bit, just like 5 minutes ago. That's why I'm a couple minutes late. I was walking. You're old. You're 44 when just getting dressed throws your back out. I was literally just putting on my clothes and I was like, oh God. What did I do? What did I do? I'm not joking. I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't move a certain part of my body. So no humping over here. Sorry, Lance. Sorry. We are going to hit all the topics today, okay? We're not going to hit all the things, but we'll hit the topics, if you know what I mean. We're going to talk about, I think you guys know what I'm going to talk about when it comes to the Karen Reed of it all, okay? There was a take that circled the interwebs yesterday by one of my favorites online, and this really shocked me. Karen Reed got a read by Maureen from the Nerve podcast. And when I tell you I love her, I love Maureen Callahan. I've had her on my show. I love the Nerve. I've turned so many of you guys onto the Nerve. I feel shocked by what I saw yesterday. Shocked. Can I tell you? I mean, in fact, I got so many DMs from you guys saying, Donna, what in the world? And I said, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to do. So we're going to talk about the Karen Reed take. We're just going to cover it. We're going to talk about a couple other videos that have surfaced since the Karen Reed verdict, and the foreman, my favorite, he's our foreman now, have talked about that. We're also going to talk about a Bryan Freedman update that hit the docket right before bed. I'll show you a video about that. That is an interesting take, and I got a lot of hate yesterday. Oh, I got a lot of hate. You guys, I'm telling you, we don't want to go into cult status here when it comes to Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. We can't do it. You guys cannot yell at me over every little thing. I mean, you can if you want. I guess it's a free country, but everyone needs to take a break. Diddy, I think he's going to walk. I'm not the jury. I'm not even in the courtroom, and I'm half paying attention to the trial, but I think he's going to walk. And finally, Craig Conover, for those of you guys who have been paying attention to the Paige and Craig, did he or did he not buy a ring? He showed receipts, and I actually think he did buy her a ring. We'll get into all of it and more. Everyone do the sprinkler. It's your daily dose of Donna. Oh my God, I'm just over here cracking my back, trying to. I need to get like a chiropractor appointment. Oh my goodness. Where should I start? What story should we start with? Let's start with, let's start with the, everyone yelling at me. Everyone yelling at me about the words that I used in my reel yesterday. So I was waiting patiently all day for the official statement from Bryan Freedman. And I was and I was very clear in yesterday's town hall that it wasn't that I didn't trust Andy from Popcorn Planet about what his statement was that he got from Bryan Freedman. I was very trustworthy of him. But I didn't want to report on the statement until I heard like officially Bryan Freedman said this. So I waited. And then in the afternoon, Bryan Freedman, TMZ reported, like first people reported it and then everyone started picking it up. And TMZ reported officially that Bryan Freedman had said the statement that we're looking at other legal options, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't script my lives. I don't script my YouTubes. I don't script my TikToks. I don't script my Instagram lives. I mean, my Instagram reels, whatever. So I just sat here at my desk last night and I just spouted out. And I said, I do not believe that Justin Baldoni sexually harassed Blake Lively. And I said the words to the extent that she would ruin someone's life and sue him and, say da 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 da. So I said the word to the extent. Oh my God. Can I tell you? It's as if I turned into a Team Blake person. The comment section went nuts on me. People went off. Comments. And I'm at the point where I don't even want to fight back. I truly don't even want to fight back because it gets too tiring. Like if you don't know my heart with this case already, and if you don't know where I stand with this case already, after so clearly where I stand, we're in June 25th. I have beaten this case to death since December. I can't be more clear where I stand on Team Justin. And people were literally going off on me about it. In terms of, I don't even know if I want to look for the comment, but basically, Donna, I love you, but this is what it says. This was like the big comment that so many people like. Donna, I love you, but please be careful with how you word things. When you say you don't believe he acted inappropriately to the extent she said, it seems as if you are saying he did something wrong. She hasn't shown any proof and he has always denied everything. Him dropping the claims doesn't mean he is guilty. Please, let's not assume that. I got emails. I got DMs. I got people saying they were going to unfollow me. I mean, it was like I got attacked over it. And I thought to myself, if we're going to really become this way where it's like it reminds me of a little bit of like politics where it's like if you're not following in line exactly with what I say, then you're on the opposite side. And now we don't want you on our team anymore. And it turns me off so much from covering this case that I don't even want to cover this case at all. You know what I mean? If we can't even just like be cool, we have to I'm sorry. I do not believe that Justin Baldoni sexually harassed Blake Lively. I was literally speaking from my heart and sharing. Do I think it's possible that Justin Baldoni made Blake Lively uncomfortable on set? Sure. But so can a pair of thong underwear. Okay? Anyone can feel uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable in this moment because my bad back. It's common to feel uncomfortable. That's very common by anything. That has nothing to do with Justin Baldoni, right? Sexually harassed? No, I do not believe he sexually harassed her. So you can clip this and you can take this anywhere you guys want. But I was so turned off by the like Justin Baldoni stands last night by doing that it makes me say like, I want to like run away from covering this case if it's going to be that way. It's too much. Thank you so much. Teresa says you don't have to fight your real people. Don't make you fight for it. That's so kind. Thank you so much, Teresa. I'm definitely not perfect, but we need to remember like we can't pit against each other this much. Yesterday, I think everyone was so high strung about this case. We don't know everything. Everything is TBD. Now, last night before we went to bed, on the docket, new things came out, and Jennifer Abel, this is actually really smart. So Bryan Freedman is also Jennifer Abel's attorney, and he is in a very, very smart way. This is actually a smart move. And I don't know why he didn't do this from the beginning. I'm not an attorney, so I wouldn't even think to do this, but this is so much smarter if I think about it. Jennifer Abel is the person who actually should have filed this motion to compel for that Van Zandt sham lawsuit to get all of to subpoena that Van Zandt sham lawsuit. I'm speaking a different language for anyone that doesn't really understand. What I'm going to do here is, not go deep into the legal side of it, but basically Jennifer Abel is now doing what Justin Baldoni couldn't do because his lawsuit is now dismissed. But Jennifer Abel is trying to now go into this, trying to get all the information from the subpoena, this fake lawsuit, this fake business, Van Zandt, that Blake Lively used to get this fake subpoena to get all the text messages. And it makes more sense coming from Jen Abel. So this may be this other legal option that people did last night, or that Bryan Freedman is thinking of. He has to be creative right now, because what he tried to do, the original thing, hit a wall. It hit a wall. So smart lawyers, I imagine, smart business people, when you hit a wall, what are you going to do? Can't go through it. You got to go around it. He's got to find a different way around it. So now he's trying to do it through Jen Abel, through different ways. And it's actually a smart thing. So let's see what happens. I think that it'll be interesting. Everyone has different theories on where it's going to go. I would be shocked if the judge turns down Jennifer Abel's motion to compel on this. If he does, if Judge Lyman turns this down, does not grant the motion to compel on Jen Abel, for Jen Abel's, I can't even think of the wording. If Judge Lyman turns this down and doesn't grant it, then we know seriously something's up. And that's how I strongly feel. This is the final litmus test for Judge Lyman. If we want to believe that Judge Lyman is 100% not biased, then this is the moment. Viv just brings up something really interesting here. Saying the new lawyer, Ms. Garofalo, filed the new motion to compel Freeman is getting much needed help. Yes, this is Ellen Garofalo, and that is really important. She's the new attorney that came on. She's the trial attorney, and I'm very curious to hear what she has to say. I would like some fresh blood in here. Micheline, this is actually a really good comment because I want to talk about this. She's a girl, lots of girls. I'm into it. I love you. However, I am so sick of hearing you talk about Karen and Blake and Justin and Ryan. I started listening to you because you covered reality TV. Now I barely listen to you. Okay, with a sad face. So I will say to that, number one, thank you for being here, because I assume you're here if you're leaving that comment. And I know a lot of people feel that way. I do. I hear the comments all the time. Trust me. You can't make everyone happy with content. You really can't. There's so many people that want to hear about reality TV. And then there's so many people who really, really, really want to hear about court cases and want to hear about Karen Reed and want to hear about Blake and Justin and want to hear about everything. And here's what I'm going to say about. I can only talk about what interests me, because if I talk about what doesn't interest me, then it's going to be boring content. And every day is a new interest. Like today, I'm not going to only talk about Karen Reed and Bryan Freedman. I'm also going to talk about Diddy. I'm going to talk about Craig Conover. I'm going to talk about Kevin Costner, and I have a couple other stories. Reality TV in general has bored the shit out of me right now. Like, I'm not watching Love Island. I tried so hard this season. I lasted 2-3 episodes. I lost it this season. I'm sorry. Although I have some thoughts about some content creators and their takes on Love Island that have taken me over the edge. But that may be a Patreon episode this weekend. I'm not going to lie. Then secondly, like The Valley, I normally cover. I didn't watch last night's episode, and I realized I actually talked about it in my Instagram stories this morning. Stassi had talked about this on a podcast. She was like, I can't watch The Valley right now. It's so dark. She says, I loved The Valley last season and I can't watch it right now. It really feels so dark. It's so heavy. And I thought to myself, I was talking to Lance about this. I said, it's really, really weird that I find myself turning on a Karen Reed murder trial over The Valley because I find Karen Reed murder trial to be lighter than The Valley. Jax Taylor does something to my insides and it's not pretty. He turns me into like a very, very angry place. And like he like sets me off inside. I don't know what other shows are out there right now. Like Real Houses of Miami is not interesting right now to me. I'm watching it, but I'm not dying or excited to talk about it. So when there are shows out there that are super, super, super exciting to talk about for me, trust me, I'm talking about it. But I will tell you, I just started rewatching America's Sweethearts, Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. I think that's adorable. So I will do an episode or at least on Patreon and I'll cover that because I think that show is absolutely adorable. But I have to get into Miami. Okay, you guys are into Miami, so I will talk about Miami. Trust me. Love Island gets better if you stick with it past the first few episodes. I had the same issue, but now I'm too late. Now they're in Casa Amor already. I don't know. Okay. But thank you for sticking around. The nice thing about me, I would say, if you stick around, is that it's a buffet of topics. It doesn't just stay on one thing. We switch it around. It's like ADHD for content. Huh? This is Daily Dose of Donna. She says, you do you, boo. This is Daily Dose of Donna. You do you, boo. But thank you for being here, my love. But we'll talk about reality TV because I'm going to get into Craig Conover in just a bit. We need to talk about this insane Karen Reed take. And bless you, Maureen. I appreciate you. I love you. I adore your takes on so many things. But this one, I don't know how we're going to get through it. I just don't know how we're going to get through it. I felt shocked over it. And I truly, I'm going to play as much as I possibly can fast because it's long. It's going to be a hard watch for those of you guys that have seen a little bit of it. And it is so hard to watch, but let's try. Let's try. And this goes to show for someone that has not watched the trial. There's no way Maureen watched the trial. There's no way. Ready?
Let's talk about this Karen Reed trial. Now, you guys, really since the show began, and we are still a baby show. As I said, we're probably in our teen years. We're in our adolescence. We're like, we've got a mouth. We've got a point of view, you know? We're going to let you have it. So you guys have been asking a lot about this person and this case a lot. And I have to say, I love true crime. I wrote a true crime book that just, the mystery of it like enraptured me for years. But for some reason, the Karen Reed case, like I couldn't latch into it. And I couldn't figure out why. And then in researching for this segment,
So we already know she couldn't latch into it. So she didn't watch it.
I realized I just think that there was an instinctual gut reaction I had towards Karen Reed. I think I read her immediately as one of the darker people that we have ever encountered.
I'm sorry, what?
I knew very little about this case. I knew that her boyfriend had been a police officer in Massachusetts, I believe in a suburb outside Boston. He was Boston PD. He was found, they dated for 2 years. His body was found in a snowbank.
There was no snowbank.
Claimed and still does that there was this wild conspiracy involving like the entire police force who had like tortured and killed him and left him out to die in the snow. And that never really made sense to me. But that this poor but glamorous, camera ready and media friendly woman named Karen Reed, I mean, it is time for her close up. Okay. That's what was putting me off, that she had nothing to do with the death of her boyfriend of 2 years. We're looking right now at an official police photo portrait of John O'Keefe. Really handsome guy, by all accounts, a really, really, really decent guy. His sister had died. I believe her husband had died. He took her 2 children and was raising them himself as a single dad, a police officer as a single dad. I mean, anyway, when I saw the verdict come in last week, I thought to myself, absolutely, the troublemakers, as usual, you are right. We have got to talk about this. So the first thing we're going to do is look at Karen Reed's address to her supporters last week after she was acquitted in this murder. She was convicted of like a much lesser charge of like DUI, I think, and she got a year's probation. Anyway, this is Karen outside Norfolk with her lawyer making very mature hand signals. You know, things that really like reflect the sober seriousness of this crime. You know, here she.
Okay, this is where I literally lost my brain. Do you guys know what this means? Does everyone know what this means? Tell me in the comments if you guys know what this means. And maybe a lot of people don't know what this means. But if you guys don't know what this means, this is the ASL, that's American Sign Language, for I love you. I don't know where you guys were in like elementary school, but my kids learned this in preschool. What? She thinks it means victory. The reason why they're doing this, if you paid any attention, is because the court created a buffer zone. And that's because they didn't want Karen Reed supporters to be loud and to be screaming to ruin or to taint the jury in any capacity. They wanted everyone to be quiet. That's why Alan Jackson, the attorney on the right, would walk outside every single day on the top of the steps and say, everyone, shh, shh, shh. So they did this. Okay.
She's outside the courthouse. A V for victory. Look at me. I'm in a tailored suit. I'm blowing kisses to my fans. Are you kidding? A man died. 2 children who already lost their parents, lost their uncle, their surrogate father. You know, is this really appropriate? I mean, where are we in the culture? Because I saw all of this coverage on the news. I saw this footage rolling over and over and over on the news. And I swear I never heard one single person say anything about how callous and inappropriate this was.
Because most people watched the trial and most people understood that this is after 4 years or 3.5 years of being on 2 trials. She's not out there like basking in the glow. She just got a not guilty verdict. She was going to face life in prison. Like, what is happening right now? I'm so shocked. I'm so confused by this.
Now, that's what we're here for. Clearly, there's a hole in the culture. There is a void bigger than, the Grand Canyon, and we are here to fill it, people, okay? Now, here is Karen's speech to her supporters after narrowly escaping with her life. She was facing life in prison. Here we go.
Number one is I could not be standing here without these amazing supporters who have supported me and my team financially and, more importantly, emotionally for almost 4 years.
You would think this was the Academy Awards. You would think this was the Oscars. Listen, sister, I think you killed that guy. I have reason to believe you killed that guy, as do many other people. And she's out here thanking her supporters and those poor saps, those idiots who donated their hard-won money to this piece of shit who was a top-level financial analyst who, when she was facing these charges, called over to Harvard Law School where she got the good advice to go hire Kevin Spacey's attorneys. You think that doesn't cost a pretty penny? Don't weep for her, okay? You should not be giving her don't give her your money. Don't do it.
It's so
Let's look at what else she had to say.
It's like so mean. She's not doing any research. She's a murderer. She's a piece of shit. Why? And it's so weird because if you've not watched the trial, where are you getting your information? She was literally found not guilty. And if you watch any of the jurors, they're not even saying, yeah, we just didn't find her not guilty. All 3 of the jurors that have spoken so far have said, we actually think she's innocent. Not just not guilty, innocent. It's so strange. This is strange. It's as if Maureen has a personal issue with her. It goes on and on and on and on. It's 15 minutes long. I won't subject you through it. I DM'd her this morning and I said, Maureen, I don't know if she's responded yet. I said, Maureen, I'm obsessed with you normally. What happened here? What in the world happened? I can't understand where this went so haywire. Like, where did you get your information? Yeah, she hasn't even looked at it yet. I wonder if she'll see it, and I wonder if she'd be open. I mean, I would not even dare show you Turtle Boy's response to this video last night, because I guess he saw it on his video last night. But it is so interesting. And yeah, you know, Linda's also saying Maureen Reed has some great takes on things, but she was way off about Brad Pitt recently. So I've not talked about, you guys. I've not talked about Brad Pitt on the show because it's a little bit of confidential information that I have. But I will say I know someone who is highly, highly, highly involved in the case of Brad and Angelina from like a professional level. Okay. Everyone assumed from all the headlines that Brad Pitt was the problem between Angelina and Brad and those kids, right? That's what the headlines led you to believe from the plane incidents and all the headlines, that Brad was the guy, the bad guy. And I can tell you from one person who I know who worked very, very closely in the proceedings, that I can tell you 100% that is false. That is the opposite. That Brad Pitt is not the monster in that situation. It is completely the opposite. So, very interesting story. But I can't tell you more than that, sadly, at this point. But maybe one day I will be able to. Okay. Andy, thank you so much. This is a slap in the face to the jurors who spent 8 weeks doing their civic duty. Yeah, that's another thing, is like the jurors are just getting attacked left and right. The foreman came out and he said, actually, the foreman's my favorite. I don't know if you guys have seen him speak already. He's been so wonderful. And by the way, thank you for the super chat, VB. He's been so wonderful speaking. And he actually said, I have the article here in People magazine. He said he voted to acquit Karen Reed of murder, and now he says FBI should reopen investigation to get justice for John O'Keefe. He says there's so many holes that need to be filled, and he straight up says there is no way that she is guilty. She is absolutely innocent. He was a really, really strong, there is good jury. I was actually really surprised by how good of a jury they were. And I also want to show you guys one other video that I think is really, really, really important to watch. And this is from Free Karen Reed. Nick Rocco is on Instagram. And he says, and he found this video. I don't know how he gets these videos, but this is of Alan Jackson, attorney / our boyfriends. Alan Jackson went to, I don't know how they had this access, and I don't know how we ever did not see this at trial, but they got to the Albert's house, probably when they sold the house, and one person went up into Brian Albert's bedroom, where Brian Albert was in a cold sleep, into the bedroom, closed the window. Alan Jackson was on the lawn right by the flagpole, right where apparently all of that chaos was happening, where Karen Reed was there screaming, oh my God, and all the police activity and all the EMT and everything was happening that morning that John O'Keefe was discovered, his body in the snow. And this is what was found in terms of sound. What Brian and Nicole Albert would have heard in their bedroom in a cold sleep, a cop and a mother, two people that probably aren't deep sleepers, let's be real. And this is what they would have heard. And you tell me how this is possible, how you could sleep through this.
Ooh. Can you hear me? Oh, somebody called 911.
It's wild. It's wild. It's literally like those old windows, single pane windows. It's obvious. I have them, some of those in my home, you know, in older homes. They're not really insulated, where basically you could talk to someone through them when they're closed. You can see and hear everything. Brian Albert was literally listening to Karen scream the entire morning. And by the way, I don't live in snow, but everyone says that in blizzards, in cold snow, or in the snow, everything is louder. Everything reverberates louder. So come on. And then a lot of people are mentioning also about the dog. And in my opinion, Chloe, the dog, RIP, was not even around the morning of. I think Chloe was gone that night. So we will see what happens. But unfortunately, I don't know if there's going to be an FBI investigation. We have no idea what's going to go on next. But it is quite a sad, sad story over there. Lots more stories to talk about. Before we get into that, I want to remind you guys that this week's episode is brought to you by Rula. Telehealth has made mental health care more convenient and accessible for millions of people. However, critical challenges like finding a suitable therapist, scheduling appointments, and the expensive out-of-pocket costs can still keep many from getting the care that they need. Rula is on a mission to make high-quality mental health care from a licensed professional easy and affordable for everyone. Rula's got you covered. They take most major insurance plans, and the average copay is only $15 per session. You can now get the quality healthcare you need when you need it at a price that you can afford. Rula isn't just affordable. They stick with you throughout your journey, making sure you get the best therapy and that you're making progress. With Rula, every provider is carefully vetted and chosen for their expertise. You'll always know you're in the hands of quality providers who are dedicated to making real progress in your care. The first step on your journey to mental well-being is easy. Rula starts by asking you a few questions about what's important to you and then provides a list of licensed in-network providers who match your preferences. You can schedule your preferred time and meet with your therapist as soon as the next day. Go to rula.com/dailydose to get started today. That's rula.com/dailydose for convenient therapy that's covered by insurance. Thousands have already trusted Rula to support them on their journey towards improved mental health and overall well-being. Head on over to rula.com/dailydose to get started today. After you sign up, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them our show sent you. Go to rula.com/dailydose and take the first step towards better mental health today. You deserve quality care from someone who cares. All righty. Okay, let's move on. We have to talk about, well, actually, before we get into a couple more things, yes, Mildly is asking, so Donna, Omar, he's awesome, right? Yes, he was awesome, and I'm definitely going to have him back on my show. Such a smart, well-spoken attorney. Wow, he was awesome. And like, sounds like Justin Baldoni, right? Like deep voice, smart. Let's get into, what do you guys think about this Kevin Costner story? I'm just like kind of surprised about this. And I wonder how it's going to differ from the story of Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, solely because it's a woman going after a man in the sense that she was definitely not in power. She does not have the power position, and he definitely does. And I'm very curious about this. We have to watch this. Do you guys know the story? I've briefly talked about it on the show before, but let's talk about it really quickly. Let me pull it up, the article about it. Let me pull off this ad. So basically, Kevin Costner has been has been sued by this stunt woman from this movie Horizon. So the woman, her name is Devin Labella, and she first sued him last month, and she said that she was the victim of a violent, unscripted, unscheduled grape scene that he directed while being a double for this actress Ella Hunt. In this movie, Horizon, an American Saga. In May 23, so now we're 2 years later, in a new amended complaint filed, this just happened June 16th, she now has included text messages. I feel like deja vu, right? Text messages with the film's intimacy coordinator, along with descriptions of the painful emotions she allegedly endured after the scene was completed. His attorney is coming back, Marty Singer. We know Marty Singer's name from so many different very high profile things, big cases over the years, has slammed the latest allegations in a statement saying there was no intimacy or anything sexual in the shot. It says Miss LaBella was doing a rehearsal on an insert shot for a scripted scene. There was no intimacy or anything sexual in the shot. There was tugging on a dress. This is what Marty Singer is saying. While she was fully clothed with long bloomers, I mean, how old are we? Lying down next to a male actor. He also says that LaBella, the woman, thanked her supervisor for those wonderful weeks in a text message following her rap, after she got rapped. Now, he also continues to say that numerous witnesses have contradicted her claims. She texted her supervisor afterwards saying, "Thank you for these wonderful weeks. We look forward to the swift end." Oh, and then he continues saying, "We look forward to the swift end of the specious lawsuit." The amended complaint details how, following a scripted and scheduled grape scene shot on May 1st, LaBella alleges the following day she was set to perform a non-intimate scene as a double with Hunt. So she did have the scene where she was scripted to perform in this grape scene. Got it? Then the next day she came back and she was supposed to do this non-intimate scene as a double. And the amended complaint says that she found out when she came back that the scenes would instead be with this man rather than a woman. And no arrangements were made for an intimacy coordinator to be there. And the woman that she was supposed to be in the scene with walked off the set, refused to do the scene, and as a result of the, quote, ad hoc and violent nature of the sudden script change request and no intimacy coordinator being there, the woman, the stunt double, LaBella, had no idea that the person she was the stunt double for walked off, and she was asked to be a stand-in to line up a shot. She was completely in the dark as to what the scene was, whether her undergarments would be worn or exposed, who would be involved, what was expected of her, whether there would be a rehearsal or run-through, whether there was a need for and therefore would be an intimacy coordinator, and most importantly, whether she consented to do a scene that would require her consent. Costner, who the complaint notes was fully in charge of directing the action filmed, ultimately directed the guy that was in the scene to repeatedly perform a violent simulated grape on her, on Miss LaBella. So basically, she gets there. She has absolutely no idea what the scene is. The woman who she's a stunt double for and she's a stand-in for, leaves because she's like, I don't want to be part of the scene. It wasn't scripted. And this is a very important part. And she's probably going to have to testify, the person that left. She gets there. She says, I don't want to be here. The intimacy coordinator is not here. I didn't have this in the script. I'm out of here. Now the stand-in, the double, they're like, okay, then you have to do it. Well, she's like, I don't know anything about this. I don't know I didn't know anything about, the scene. It's not in the script. There's no intimacy coordinator here. I don't know anything about what we're supposed to be doing. There's no discussion, no explanation, no rehearsal, no choreography session, no stunt or intimacy coordinator present, nothing. Kevin Costner told this woman to lay down, and the man, who was dirty and covered in sweat, which, by the way, gross, climbs on top of her, lifts up her skirt while pinning her legs down so she could not move for the scene. Her personal undergarments are exposed, which only further added to her humiliation, as she was, it says, menstruating at the time of the shoot, which is Incredibly uncomfortable, guys. And then he has to carry out the violent assault over and over again. She feels the air pour over her intimate parts as her personal undergarments were exposed. The exposure was especially humiliating to her as she was, oh my gosh, this is all in this complaint, as she was menstruating at the time, compounded by the fact that between takes, his hands rested on top of the bundled up skirt above her vagina. Sorry, guys. This is all written here. This is too much, right? This feels really, really real, not the breeze and not the period. Like, it's too much, actually. I feel bad for this woman. Wardrobe immediately sewed up her bloomers. Lots of bloomers talk. Sewed up her bloomers after the scene as she requested. It should have been done prior to the scene, but the departments were not prepared or informed that the scene would be happening. It sounds like there is an incredible lack of information. No communication on set. This is pretty shitty. LaBella previously claimed that Costner did not call out action or cut during the scene, which meant she wasn't aware when it began or ended. She further alleged that neither the film's stunt coordinator or the intimacy coordinator were present during the filming of the impromptu scene or informed it was happening. Afterwards, she felt she suffered shock, embarrassment, and humiliation while attempting to process the situation, and she contacted the intimacy coordinator to discuss the abomination. The complaint contains screenshots of their subsequent text messages in which she expressed their grievances over the May 2nd shoot. I would like to see those text messages now. I wonder if there's a way that someone can send them from the docket. I need someone to be my assistant for this one. And then she didn't get hired for the next one. Okay, I'm just going to call it right here unless something else comes out. This sounds really bad. And it sounds like it should all be on camera. And this is, if he wants to prove his case, just like Justin Baldoni did, he needs to release the video. We need to have the video. But this is actually really a good question too, mildly says. Did she go to SAG? Was she supposed to go to SAG? Yes. In this case, you should go to your union immediately. So I would be curious what she did immediately. Now I need to look at the entire, I want someone to send me, like, we need to go to the docket and I need to read the entire thing now because I'm very curious of what she did immediately. But for anyone right now that is watching this or is watching anything in the future, if you get on a set or if you get hired in a job and you get any sort of harassment or if you feel like anything goes awry, you have to take it to HR, your boss, the union, whatever the chain of command is, immediately. Because stuff like this, if you don't, and I'm not saying she didn't, I don't know, but if you don't, they will use that against you as proof that, like, see, it didn't happen because he didn't. You know what I mean? Now, Gwen says, why do people not ever stop during and speak up? So that is a really, really tough question because when you are in these situations, and I'm not speaking for all, but I just want to explain, it is a very intimidating situation to be on a set with someone like a Kevin Costner and hundreds of people watching you, waiting on you, expecting you, relying on you for their job. And you are just some lowly, in your mind, some lowly stunt double stand-in, and they're all waiting on you to do your job. Sit down and shut up and do your job. The intimidation of that moment, she is not in a position of power. That is a very, very hard ask for her to stand up in that moment and speak up. It's like saying, why doesn't Cassie leave Diddy? It's not that she's going to get her ass beat, but it's her career is on the line. Her reputation is on the line. If she says, I don't want to do this anymore, she is labeled immediately as the difficult actress, as who's ever going to hire her again? You know what I mean? Just even now suing Kevin Costner and putting her name in the limelight as the woman that is suing Kevin Costner is potentially career suicide for her, depending, of course, on what happens here. So we have a big, you really, really struggle. And I'm just speaking from my own experience, just working in the industry, how many times I had to just zip it when I was treated badly from people because you want a job, right? How many of you guys have been treated so badly in jobs because you just need a job? You need to work, right? How about I've told Lance this, my husband, so many times where he's been treated so badly on gigs. And I'm like, it's 2 more weeks. It's 2 more weeks. We've got to get through it. You don't start shit because you're replaceable. You're replaceable. You're replaceable. You're replaceable, you know? And everyone's replaceable in this industry. It's really, really scary. And word spreads and people say never hire that person again. Take her off your list. Because the annoying ones, the people that speak up and the people that are difficult, oh, I want this. Oh, I want that. Oh, you're not paying me enough. Oh, you're not giving me enough lunch break. Oh, this is difficult. They get off the list. You know what I mean? Real tough situation. But her situation sounds real. Blake's situation doesn't, if you know what I mean. Okay, let's move on to another story. Oh, that's a really good question, Khaleesi. Where's Blake to defend all women? I really want Blake to stand up for Devin LaBella. If we don't hear Blake standing up right now for Devin LaBella today, I want a press conference. I want Blake to stand up for Devin LaBella on the top of the stairs of the courtroom right now. If Blake does not stand up for Devin LaBella publicly, this is why she's doing this, right? It's for Devin LaBella. I want her to stand up. If Blake doesn't start speaking up for Devin LaBella, then I don't trust her. There you go. Let's move on and let's talk really quickly about Diddy. You guys, as you know, I've dipped a toe in Diddy and I've really stayed out of it because it hasn't been that interesting. It hasn't been that shocking. And this is actually why I'm so disappointed by this trial. We walked into Diddy feeling like we were going to get this whoa, mama, and nothing was that surprising. Okay, drug addict. Okay, sex addict. Okay, nasty. Okay, loves himself some baby oil. Definitely not a great guy. Definitely put his people up to some pretty shady shit. But clearly they didn't have that much on him because they're dropping things left and right. And when I had my guest, Emily Hagan, on my show a few weeks ago, you guys were not you guys all, but some people were so mad because she said that. She was like, I just don't think they have a lot. And here we go. We just don't have that much on it. And according to TMZ today, they say that the prosecutors are dropping. Let me get the article really fast. Where is it? That the prosecutors are, here we go. Prosecutors want to dumb down. This is how they're kind of saying it, that the prosecutors want to dumb down the elements of the RICO charge for the jury. That's how they're trying to say it. They're trying to say that they're trying to dumb it down for the jury, but I don't believe that that is the case. I think that they're trying to basically lower the case so that they get him on something. It says, in a stunning move the day before closing arguments in Diddy's federal criminal trial in NYC, prosecutors have pulled back on some key, let me make it bigger, testimony during the trial, specifically attempted kidnapping, attempted arson, and aiding and abetting sex trafficking. Prosecutors said in a letter to judge, the government is following his honor's instructions to streamline the jury's instructions. The reality, prosecutors seem to feel they've fallen flat on proving Diddy allegedly kidnapped former employee Capricorn Clark. This is her right here. who was taken to a building and given a lie detector test to determine if she stole Diddy's jewelry, and Cassie when she was allegedly held at the London hotel. More surprising, prosecutors are not pursuing the attempted arson claim that Diddy blew up Kid Cudi's car in a jealous rage. During the trial, prosecutors never directly linked Diddy to the fire. Both of these charges relate to the racketeering or RICO charge Diddy faces. As for the aiding and abetting sex trafficking charge, prosecutors don't explain what elements of sex trafficking they will 86 from the jury instructions. They are not dropping the various sex trafficking charges, only elements of them, and specifically aiding and abetting. Prosecutors do say in their letter that they want an instruction that just because women, Cassie and Jane, gave prior consent to sexual acts, it does not mean that it can never be withdrawn. And they say jurors should be told just because a woman received compensation does not preclude a finding of forced labor. What do you guys think? I think the case fell apart. And I don't know exactly what it's going to end up on, but I just don't know if he's going to end up. I just don't know. And I am, and it's bad, you guys. I have 666 live viewers in this moment talking about Diddy, so someone help me. Don't leave, but someone else needs to come in. Okay, maybe people left talking about Diddy. But here's the thing. I don't know. I personally do not know exactly what's going to happen with Diddy because I have not been following perfectly. But I just don't think, I'm not feeling confident whatsoever in the Diddy case. Whatsoever. I feel pretty strongly that they just do not have enough. Now, I turn to Emily Hagan. Emily knows everything on Instagram because she is the girl that I have. She's my friend. She was on my show. She covers it in a way that I can understand. So let's go to her page and just see what she has been saying about it. She started yesterday saying prosecution no longer pursuing Diddy's kidnapping charge. But then yesterday she also said the RICO is still alive. Let's watch what she says with a towel over her head.
I just spoke to a rep, and this is what's actually happening with the RICO. So whoever is saying that there is no more RICO, that is not true. The feds are simply eliminating a few of the charges that the jury will look at the list and be like, oh, well, does this support the RICO? Does this support the RICO? But they have not gotten the judge's approval yet. So this is what happened. Last night, the prosecutors, the feds, they wrote a letter to the judge asking if they could basically change the language now of what the RICO is, kind of dumbing down the jury instructions for the jury. So the prosecutors have not dropped the racketeering, like the overall charge, but what they've done is they're asking the judge if they can remove the kidnapping, the arson, and the aiding and abetting and sex trafficking as charges that will be considered when the jury considers if this is a RICO. So the judge could very much look and be like, why are you doing this now? Like, shouldn't you have known that you had these charges at the beginning? And he could very much say no. And then the kidnapping and the arson and all that could still be on the jury instructions. So none of this is going to be confirmed until 2 p.m. But people that did report this letter, that letter is true. This letter is not fake. It is a real letter that the feds sent in order to change the language for the jury right before deliberation. So that's what's happening. They have moved the conference now from noon to 2. So at 2 o'clock, the judge will decide whether or not he's going to approve what the prosecutors are asking, which is to have those 3 charges of the RICO removed. Stay tuned, guys. We will be back later, hopefully without a towel on my head.
Now, she also says here, this is her most recent, saying nobody can predict Diddy's verdict.
Who knows what's going to happen to Diddy? He could walk free. He could go to jail for life, or he might do a little time. Nobody actually knows what's going to happen. We cannot read the minds of the jury. It is all up to the jury. You have influencers like me telling you one thing. You've got mainstream media telling you another. You have other people saying what they think is going to happen. None of us know. We are not mind readers. That's probably why Diddy's reading that book, The Magic of Believing, because he's trying to manifest that verdict. But in these cases, like, anything can happen. we're probably about a week away from the trial, and
The verdict.
the ending, we'll find out.
So sorry about the volume there. She's probably in like a train. I have absolutely no idea where it's going to go either. Like I said, when you can't watch the trial and be in the room and see like the energy and see who's doing a better job with presenting their case every day, it's so hard to follow. It's really hard to know what the energy and like who's doing a better job. But I have no idea. I really have no idea. We'll have to see. Okay. And then the final story, and this is a big one for the Bravo fans and those people that are into all of the Paige and Craig drama, which you know I am, and you know that I absolutely love Craig Conover. I always have. And so many people turned on him in the last, few months because of the Paige and Craig breakup. And I will tell you, thank you so much, Danny. I will tell you that I adore Craig Conover. He is a liar. He's an embellisher. He is a storyteller. But man, oh man, this guy started from the bottom, and he's a business owner. He is a handsome man. He's a homeowner. He knows what he's doing. Okay. He's not perfect, but he knows what he's doing. And he was on the Toast today with Jackie O'Shea, and he was talking about the ring that he supposedly purchased. And he basically, Paige DeSorbo has like completely obliterated her ex-boyfriend, Craig Conover, on Bravo. She's made him sound like he is completely a liar. She's like, there was no ring. He didn't buy a ring for me. He's lying. And he hasn't said a damn word about it. But Jackie asked him today on the Toast all about that. Number one, can we just like take a moment? How handsome is this guy? Look at that smile. He's also such a philanthropic guy. Anyway, can you believe that I was just in Charleston and I didn't meet him, but I met Austin? All right, let's watch him for a second.
Like 6 months, which was, I don't think you ever get used to it, but you learn how to process
Make it a little
them.
faster.
Mm-hmm.
But the ring one was a bummer because it was such a fun memory. Like it was such a good experience.
Shopping for it.
Yeah. She had told me she was like, it's time, and I was, happy, and we were having like a great couple months, and well, really the whole relationship was great until it wasn't. And but we went to that like GIA building or GAI building. There's like in the Diamond District in New York. And my brother and sister-in-law came up because that's where he got her ring, but they weren't married yet. And so we like got to go to the Diamond building, and it's unmarked, and you have to like show your ID and then go up to like an imaginary floor. And it was cool. Like the guy was so nice, and he had investment diamonds in there. So he like shows you everything.
And she was with you.
My sister, no.
Okay,
This was all a surprise.
Okay.
It felt so weird because I'd be like, so our production company's called Haymaker, and they're in the city. And I was like, I'm going to go down to Haymaker for like a meeting.
Got it. When were you looking, and when did you buy it?
Bought it at the end of March. But it took like 7 weeks to get delivered. So by the end of that 7 weeks is when she was like, actually hold off until Southern Charm's done filming. And then it was hold off until Summer House is done filming.
Okay. Because then I was going to say, like, if you got it in March, like, why didn't you propose?
Because she had asked, I was just on her account.
Okay.
I wasn't in a rush. But she didn't know. I wanted it to stay a surprise.
Got it.
Like I had dreamt about proposing, I just think it's such a special moment. And so we got to see, like, there was I think he was Jewish, the guy that was like cutting the stones, and like he told, like, the guy I was buying it from told my sister-in-law, like, don't look him in the eye, or like don't touch him. Like I don't know.
There's
it was
like superstitions around it.
Yeah. And so it was a cool experience. And then whatever happened. But I had it in my room since April or May, and like would look at it.
Do you have a picture of it?
Yeah.
Can I see?
Oh, that was the weird thing when I heard this rumor that like it wasn't a ring. I was like, why didn't anyone just ask me to see the ring?
Like the picture, and that it's like not in the store.
No, it's in my room. And it's like timestamped because my assistant was like,
Great.
just so you know,
Clear this up.
my assistant was like, just so you know, people are saying you didn't have a ring. And I was like, why would anyone say that? That's so mean.
That is, like, the only thing sadder than being ready to propose and like, having that not happen for you is like, then people saying that you didn't.
Yeah, I was like, I'm dealing with enough here. Also, if it wasn't malicious, like just ask me to see the picture.
Yeah.
I think I did a good job. So it was a 4-carat elongated cushion cut with a hidden halo under it.
It sounds to me,
Now I need to.
before you see the picture, it sounds to me like he bought the ring. How does he have so many details? He's like, I went to a store with my brother and sister-in-law. We went to this floor. A Jewish man looked at the diamond. He had this. We had this. We picked at this. I have a picture of it in my room. It's this and this and that. Are you kidding me? He bought this ring. He said that Paige didn't want to be proposed to before the end of Summer House, before the end of Southern Charm. Like, she totally made it sound like he lied.
That sounds pargelish.
And then they were like, Jack was like, yeah, apparently.
I think you can if you go to search, you can search ring. That's what I do these days.
He was like, they like, don't think you took it back. I don't know. Like the stories I can't keep straight. Like I said, I try to stay out of it.
That's good. And that's why you don't go out of your way to clear up rumors.
Well, yeah. And I think that society is getting to a point where before I never gave him credence. Like when, Paige and I never posted together because we didn't have anything to prove. Like we saved it for the show, but we lived like a pretty decent life offline.
Yeah.
And so the last thing I was going to do is like start to give in to people because I feel like these aren't judges in a gymnastics competition or figure skating in the Olympics. Like you saying like you're entitled to my business doesn't like I don't owe you anything.
Yeah.
But if I start to try to prove things to you, it's a
never-ending cycle then.
Right.
So that's why you also didn't feel.
Here's a bunch of pictures. Tell me what you think about it. Those are them.
Oh wow.
But
it's so beautiful.
It came like I was just like, just ask me to see it and I would show you. But
the geotag on this photo I'm zooming out, is Charleston, you guys. Can I show this picture?
Yeah, you can show my nightstand and dresser. Oh, here.
And there it is.
But I went to the map, so I can confirm that photo was taken in Charleston.
I didn't even think of that. Hold on, I'll just show you my my nightstand.
Oh, let's see your nightstand.
Okay, this is my bathroom.
Oh, we would probably recognize it from the show.
Anyway, he's showing
it's really
all
so
the
pretty.
details.
And you were able to return it?
Yeah, because there's my coasters in that. That's
they're Nutcracker.
Irrefusable.
Yep.
Anyway, the point is he isn't lying. And I feel bad for him. He got really torn through the mud. He got torn through the mud by Paige and that Summer House crew. Justice for Craig. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here today. Let's see what happens before the end of the week, and I will talk to you guys mañana. Have an amazing rest of your Wednesday. Love you. Bye.